Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Ericson along with Mayor Jerry Koch. Today we're talking about both the October 1st and the October 15th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Yes, we are, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, October's been kind of a chilly month here. We just got past Fire Prevention Week here, and we had the open houses, and pretty chilly out there. They had to make some modifications.
It was a chilly and kind of a damp day, so all of the outdoor activities were moved indoors, and they kind of did some audibles, and instead of having the things outside, they had the canine inside, and they still made it a very fun day.
Yeah.
And it was more focused then on the inside and the tours, and yeah, it was still nice.
Yeah, I guess I didn't recall a time that they had to make those modifications. It seems like it's been earlier than ever that we've had this pretty cold weather here.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's always been outside. I don't recall a time, I mean, in the last many years anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, they made another change this year. They only had chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
I was a little surprised. Fortunately, I like them too, but
I'm sure they went just as well as the others too.
Yeah, and I'm sure all they did is every year they ran out of those first.
Yeah.
So they would just have rows of oatmeal raisin cookies left.
Right.
And
got to get the ones that the people want.
Yeah.
So sounds like that's what they did.
Yeah. It was a very nice event though, very well attended, and yeah, it's just fun to see all the firefighters there and all the equipment and all of the kids get so excited, and it's just, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. All right. Moving along, we're going to talk about our October 15th council meeting here this week. We had an item to talk about here, planning case 19-16. This is considering a reasonable accommodation request for a sober home at 12339 Gladiola Street. We talked about this. It was about 3/4 of the meeting.
This was at least 3/4 of the meeting.
Yeah.
And it was providing an opportunity for the petitioner's attorney to present the case and for the petitioner to present the case. And what they've done is they've opened a sober house in a neighborhood, and our city ordinance allows for up to 6 unrelated individuals to occupy one home. Okay. And they, of course, what we were surprised by, I think was the bigger surprise, was that they've already moved 10 in there. And so that was the first, at least on the council, I could tell that any of us knew that.
Right.
And I know that I had driven by there the other day, and it's very busy. And the parking lot, that's what it's become. The yard is all muddy, and it's a pretty intense use. Yeah. So after the neighbors presented, the petitioners presented, the council had done a lot of research into this, and at the end of the day, the council voted to deny their appeal or their request as not reasonable.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to get it back to 6 again.
Okay. And I mean, you said that as a city ordinance as far as the 6 unrelated in a home, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I was surprised to find out that we're kind of an outlier in that. A lot of the communities are only 4 unrelated, and when you start kind of thinking about that, you're going, well, that really probably is a more reasonable number for a home to be within a single-family homes. You start to get much beyond that. It almost becomes like student housing or something. It's just a more intense use.
Yeah, and I imagine parking becomes an issue. There's only so many spaces in the driveway.
You have young drivers at home. Yeah. I had young drivers at home. You know what it's like to balance and juggle those out in the driveway. Right. And now you've got up to 10 independent people with 10 cars, and just I don't know how you would do that. It just doesn't make sense to me.
All right. So it seemed nobody was against the use. It was just this seemed to be too intense for a residential setting.
Right. Everybody seemed very empathetic and encouraging for the significance and the importance of sober housing. They understand all of that. It's just a very intense use for a single family neighborhood. It changes the character, and so.
All right. So what happens next? Because they've said that there are 10 people in this home, which obviously is in violation of city ordinance.
Yeah. So we did leave it up to staff to move through the process of bringing them into conformity.
Okay.
And there was no 30 days, 60 days. Like we were all surprised that they'd already gone out of conformity. Yeah. So it's up to staff now to bring them back into conformity, to work with them.
All right, but everybody seems supportive, and they don't want to put any of these people on the street as they're trying to get help.
Right. And as Councilman Wells mentioned, but the neighborhood's already been dealing with all of this extra activity there, and it's really not fair to them to drag this out.
Okay.
So
staff will be looking into it and determining what should happen next.
We have a great staff. I have all the confidence that they're going to sort this out in the best way.
All right. Council held a public hearing where no one wished to speak. This was on a non-domestic animal exhibition permit. This is for an event that's coming up actually this weekend.
Yeah, Saturday, October 19th, right?
That is. Today's the 17th, yes.
Okay. Sand Creek Park, I think it's like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Does that sound right?
Yep.
And according to Mr. Himmer, I believe they're going to have bounce houses and all kinds of activities. Yep. And part of that will be a petting zoo there. Okay. And so, but because they're bringing in non-domestic animals into the city, we had to authorize that. Okay. And according to the city clerk, they're all going to be cute and fluffy and harmless.
I say harmless, nothing that is too exotic.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't. I guess I'm not sure how much lateral movement this allows them, but apparently it's just a petting zoo.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a fun event. It's the first time they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's in conjunction with the Coon Rapids Community Strength Foundation.
Yep.
So they're hoping people show up. I think it's called Rocky's Pumpkin Patch
Yeah, that sounds right.
Rocky's
Pumpkin Patch.
Something like that. So again, Saturday, we decided October 19th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Sand Creek Park. And I think there's also going to be booths with different athletic organizations or different organizations out there also kind of educating people about what they do and programs available. So.
It's the first time this has been done, and it just sounds like they're trying to put together a very fun event for the community, especially the kids. And it's and the day is supposed to be gorgeous on Saturday. Yeah. So that'll be nice.
All right.
And the one thing is, if you're seeing this, you want to get there early, because we're not sure how many pumpkins they have.
Yeah.
Right.
They're giving away pumpkins to kids for free, but there's a limited number of them. So.
Yeah. Right. You can't. Right. You can't just bring in infinity pumpkins.
Right. Especially to a first-time event that you don't know how many people are coming, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of pie afterwards.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Moving along, Council adopted an ordinance regulating self-storage facilities. This seems like something we've talked about now for many months.
Well, right. And this is what we've been talking about is we discussed a couple that are coming in, and then we put in a moratorium on any new ones until we sorted it out. And this is now the results of sorting it out. This is the new ordinance regulating self-storage facilities, but our moratorium is still in place. Okay. So we'll need to go back and deal with that at another time to lift the moratorium. This is just putting in place, if somebody wants to build one here, once the moratorium comes off, these are the guidelines now.
Okay. So what are there major changes to the ordinance as far as self-storage facilities, as far as where they can go in the city?
Yeah, so, I don't have the specifics. You can still have we didn't really change anything in the industrial areas, but in the general commercial areas, we've really narrowed it down where it's only the inside storage. None of the rows of garages anymore. Okay. It's just really trying to be more appreciative of our space that we have left, I think, rather than these sprawling storage units. And of course, there's no outside storage that's allowed anymore. And so, just cleaning it up.
Yeah, people must have more stuff because it seems to be this business is booming a little more. You're seeing more of these pop up around the metro area, so there must be a need.
Well, it's I think it's more stuff, and it's also we have a lot more people that are renting now, and with smaller apartments, and we get a spot for your stuff.
Yeah, you need storage sometimes. So.
Yeah.
All right, so the moratorium will eventually then come off
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There hasn't been a decision on that yet, but that was discussed a little bit, and that will be the next action.
All right. All right, now up to the real exciting part of the meeting. A council authorized the purchase of 2 trackless MT sidewalk machines.
And we learned that MT are municipal tractors.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference between municipal tractors and other tractors is, but there's some difference there.
We got
I
the
guess.
MT version.
Got the MT version. And so we're buying 2. We're going to be, and those are to replace 2 others that we have, but one of those will be sold and one of those will be kept as a spare in case one of our new ones breaks, I guess.
Okay.
And these were part of the 2020 budget, but we moved them up to 2019. We're going to take delivery in 2019 in December, so that we can not only use them for this plowing season. There was also we also received a cost benefit too.
Okay. So some savings by doing it sooner than
some savings.
2020.
Yep.
All right, and you know what? We may need them sooner than later with the way this fall is going, if we can call this fall.
Who knows?
It feels like we skipped right past fall.
It feels like it actually kind of it was kind of reflective of spring the other day.
Yeah.
You know, when it started to warm up again, it felt like we're coming out of something.
I mean, it would be nice if we could skip past winter, but I'm guessing that's probably not going to happen.
No, I think you have some Nordic skiers and some downhill skiers and some outdoor enthusiasts that would take issue with that.
That is true. There are some that do like it. All right, another purchasing item. Council amended the budget for the fire department. This was for SCBA bottles.
Yeah, so those are those breathing tanks that our firefighters use, and they apparently sent some of our guys to training on them, and came to find out that our tanks are all at the end of their life. Apparently, you can get 15 years out of them, and then you either have to replace them or recertify them. There was some, the chief said they had checked with 3 different organizations, and there was some, they weren't in full agreement, but they decided that the best case was just to replace them. Okay. So and they had money left in the budget from radios that they were replacing. So it was a relatively neutral position for us, and it was a good opportunity to replace the tanks.
Okay. Certainly an important need for firefighters to do their jobs.
We need our firefighters to be safe, and we need them to have all the right equipment.
Yeah. All right. That was the end of our October 15th meeting. I want to jump back to our first meeting of the month now, which happened to be on the 1st of October. We had a kind of fun presentation to start with. This was a Life Saving Citizens Award, something that could have turned out much worse than it did.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So tell us about this call and what we presented.
Yeah, and I would really encourage folks to go back and to go to the CTN website or the CTN YouTube channel and watch the beginning of the October 1st council meeting. Yeah. It was so much fun. Declan Hansen was this little 2-year-old boy who got away from his mom from the kids' pool at Bunker Wave Pool. Mm-hmm. And it was just a moment. She recognized he was gone, and the alert went out. Everybody is bailing. Everybody's out looking. Mm-hmm. And one gal there, for some reason, went to a closed pool. Mm-hmm. It was just like something just told her, go right. And she went over, and he was floating. He was blue and floating face down in that pool. And she grabbed him, ran over to where the lifeguards were. They did the CPR. They evacuated the airways. And when Officer Plotz got there, he said, I was only like a minute away, and it felt like it took me 2 hours to get there. Yeah. And when he got there, he heard Declan crying, and it was very powerful. Yeah. And it was the best possible outcome from a terrible situation. Yeah. And it was so fun to see Declan award the life-saving coins and our citizen certificate to all of these real heroes that saved his life. It was very, very good.
Yeah, and he was transported to Children's. Like I said, he was conscious at the scene. Transported Children's. Doctors said nothing was wrong.
Nope,
couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So
no, and if you saw him at the meeting, I mean, he was absolutely perfect. Yeah. He was just so healthy, and I love the fact that he would his mom would give him an M&M, and then he'd go deliver the life-saving coin, and the M&M and
little coaxing kind of help
coaxing,
there.
And it was fun. He was experiencing the being on camera. He saw himself on the big monitor, and I loved as soon as he saw that, then he was showing off his car.
Yeah.
You know, a 2-year-old. You know,
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
Yeah, great moment to honor all those rescuers that helped save him, and things like that you said can happen fast, and people jump into action. We just saw this with the 6-year-old boy up in Becker the other night that got lost in the woods. 600 some people came out to find him, and fortunately they found him overnight with his dog. But I mean, people do step forward, I think, is what we see. You don't know what you would do in these situations, but people do jump into action when they need it.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thanks for finding me, guys.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. All right. Well, congrats to all those citizens, and we're glad little Declan is doing just fine.
Yep, that was a wonderful outcome. You know, that just could have been so terrible.
Yeah. All right. Moving forward, we had 2 appointments to different city commissions.
So the city council, the city of Coon Rapids, the staff, we really count on all these commissions that we have. These folks are just selfless. They do the yeoman's work. And we've got the Planning Commission, the Sustainability Commission, we've got the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, we've got the Civil Service Commission, we've just got the Charter Commission, and I know that I've missed something, I'm sure. The Arts Commission. And in this case, we've appointed Tim Peterson to the Historical Commission and William Reichenborn to the Park and Recreation Commission. And we just really appreciate the citizens that step up, that are willing to do this. It's a great way to serve your community. It's a great way to get to know folks in the community, and it's just a great way to get involved.
Yeah.
So, and there's vacancies on many of our commissions, and I encourage everyone to go to the website, the city's website, see what's available, fill out an application, and step up.
Yeah, and they're important in that process to the city council as far as kind of looking at things and making recommendations to the council.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need those recommendations. So you're not making decisions in a vacuum. And
All right. I'm going to jump ahead to one. We'll just talk about the purchase of the fire rescue truck here first.
We're replacing one of our rescue trucks. It was in the 2020 budget, but again, we recognize some savings by authorizing it earlier. It's still going to be coming out of the 2020 budget. It takes a year to get these things.
Yeah.
But rather than waiting for 2020 to authorize the purchase, we authorized it early, again, to take advantage of some savings and to get it on order. It's going to take about a year. It's, the base price of it's $675,000. We authorized $750,000 because they still have to add a lot of the equipment.
Right.
And then they'll, at the time we take delivery, we're going to move one into reserve. It'll be a spare for us, and then this will free up one to sell.
Okay.
So.
But this is just essentially equipment replacement. Every so often we have to replace most of the big equipment here in the city.
Yep, and again, just making sure that we have the best equipment that our firefighters, our public safety can count on, and that our residents can count on. You know.
All right.
It's important.
Now we can talk about some construction here. Council approved a joint powers agreement with Anoka County for Hanson Boulevard reconstruction. This will be another phase of Hanson Boulevard reconstruction, north of Highway 10 this time.
Right, yeah. So from 400 feet south of Northdale Boulevard, okay, up to Main Street. Yeah. And we've been talking about this. We actually, I think we provided municipal approval on this project in 2016, and it just kept getting delayed. And so now they're going to start on construction of this in 2020. And it's going to be a mess because it is a very, very intensely used road, especially any time around rush hour in the morning or in the evening. So people are going to have to be just on the lookout for detours and for whatever comes up next year. But 2020, improving all of that on Hanson, again, north of Highway 10, basically from approximately Northdale Boulevard to Main Street.
Yeah. Do we know if there's going to be any full closures or not? Have we got that far?
I haven't seen anything with full closures. I'm sure their intent is to keep it
to
open,
maintain at least one lane in
fashion.
each direction.
But I don't know that we know that yet.
Yeah, because that would be a hard one to close as far as detouring people off that road.
Yeah. Plus we have to learn the nuances of the new Anoka County highway engineer.
Yes.
because Doug Fisher just retired.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll find out. So again, that's next year. Right now, they're just completing the current project around the railroad tracks, and we just learned that got delayed another week or so.
Right. So when they started that grade crossing on Hanson over the Burlington Northern Santa Fe line, we knew it was going to be a big project. We knew it was going to be really painful, and it's been a painful year. It closed in March, and it was supposed to be reopened in the end of October. And I know that they ran into a lot of complications that they didn't anticipate, and it's just been an incredibly rainy year. And so now we're back to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the bridge is supposed to be open. So it's going to be so nice to have that open again.
Yeah.
And it looks very nice. When if you go down there, it should be a nice looking bridge.
Okay. So I believe that's November 27th is the Wednesday.
November 27th is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So they were saying November 20th. And like we said before that, end of October. But I mean, they have to get the work done. They just have to do it. And a little over a month here then.
Yep.
We'll be reopening.
Yeah, yeah. And it won't be done, but it'll be open. You know, they'll still have all the landscaping.
Yeah.
They'll still have, I'm sure there'll be another lift of asphalt to put on different places.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of not only for all the cars that have to find alternate routes, for all of the neighborhoods there that have been driving through mud all year, and it'll be nice.
All right. While we're on the topic of construction, we also wanted to talk about Foley Boulevard. That project is
Also painful.
because that was supposed to be done at the end of September, correct?
Right, and so there's two. The big hang up on Foley was a couple culverts, and so they've got one of the culverts that's going to be in, and the end of this week it's supposed to be open to limited traffic, I believe. Wasn't that the line?
That sounds right. but
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah, and we're still it's still going to be finished yet this year.
Right.
But it's really hard for the city-owned golf course, restaurant up on the north end, along with all of the residents along Foley, along with all the folks that drive through there.
Right.
It's been a very painful year. And this one, if you drove past the road closed sign thinking that you're going to be able to get somewhere, it just ends. It just ends, and you're turning around in a driveway, and yeah, it's a mess.
Okay. But this was the project they started right after Labor Day, right? Or is this a different project?
Memorial Day?
Labor Day.
Oh, the culverts.
The culverts one, right?
The culverts part of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is part of the bigger project.
Part of the bigger project.
Of going Foley from Northdale essentially up to Main Street.
Right.
Okay. So is that whole project supposed to wrap up then this fall?
I believe so.
Is that what's up? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once they get all of the underground work done, all the utility work done, all the curbs in, and it starts coming together really fast. Yeah. And that's kind of where we're at. They've got a lot of the curbing, I believe, is done. The bump outs are in. A lot of the trail work is done.
Okay. But it sounds like will be done this season in any case.
Right.
Because they didn't want to have both Hanson and Foley closed. I remember that discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So Foley is getting done this year, and then they'll move on to Hanson.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. And on the north end, as long as we're still kind of on other business here, Kendall's Tavern and Chop House, city-owned restaurant up there. It's going to be they re-fog sealed all of the parking this year, and now all of the parking for the restaurant are marked.
Okay.
You can only park there if you are eating at Kendall's, which is, and I really only wanted to point that out because we have a lot of residents that have been very frustrated going up there for lunch, and you end up parking 3 blocks away.
Right.
Well, that's not conducive for a 1 hour lunch.
Yeah.
Having to walk 15 minutes.
Right.
So they now have designated parking areas there, and I would just encourage folks, especially once Foley gets open, get back out there again and try it out for lunch. And it's awesome for dinner. Yeah,
because some days I know are busier up there depending what tournaments are going on, and you do get a lot of traffic. So.
Right, yeah, the golfers would all get there early, fill that whole parking lot, and then you'd go up there for lunch, and you have to you walk 3 blocks, and then you think, oh, it's got to be really busy, and you're going, well, there's hardly anybody here. Where's everybody?
Right, out on the golf course.
Yep. So I believe they've got the parking worked out now.
Okay.
And once Foley opens again, it's
All right.
make sure you get out there.
We had a couple events we wanted to talk about coming up here at the end of this month. The drug take back.
So the Coon Rapids Police Department will be at City Hall receiving, if you've got any of your old prescription drugs, anything like that, don't flush them. Don't put them down the drain. Don't put them in a landfill. Bring them in, drop them off, and our police department will collect them from you. They're not good to have stored around the house, and there's really no other safe way to dispose of them. I believe it's 10 to
2 on the 26th.
10 to 2 on the 26th.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very efficient. You literally just drive up to the curb. They're waiting out there, and
yeah. And they do that twice a year. And if folks can't make it on that day, I know the sheriff's office does collect them year-round during their business hours.
Yeah, they've got a box in their lobby.
Yeah, so you can put them in there as well.
Yeah.
And then we have another event the next day on Sunday, October 27th.
Sunday, October 27th is the annual,
Spooky Skate.
Spooky Skate. Thank you. Spooky Skate. 5:30 to 7:30. It goes with open skating, public skating over at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. They've got a decorated hallway. Make sure you can come in costume, and it's just a very fun event. It's not free. It's like $5 for adults and $4 for kids, and then there's like
5 and under are free.
Free 5 and under. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a fun event.
Yeah, to be able to go skating in your costume. I mean, hey, what more could you ask for? All right.
How could that possibly go wrong?
I mean, no, unless they turn off the lights or something. All right, and then we should mention that there's an election coming up here, so we will be one day delayed for our next meeting.
Right, Tuesday, November 5th, that would normally be our council meeting, but because there's a school board election that day, and I believe Coon Rapids is represented by 3 of the board members that are in that election. One of them is a contested race, and but I encourage folks to get out and exercise their rights there.
Yep.
And so the council meeting will be Wednesday night, November 6th.
Okay. Same time, same place?
Same bat channel, same bat, yeah.
We're a little delayed. We have an extra Tuesday in October as well, so we'll be a little while until our next meeting here.
I'll probably have to retrain me how to run a meeting again.
We might have to do that. All right. That is all I have, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I don't think so.
All right. Appreciate you being here today and talking to us about the meetings. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you back here again after our 2 meetings in November.